Dan Bilinski and the VCC, Dave's cousin, just for people that don't know who Dan Bilinski was.
He was a very honorable man, and that is one thing. I met Dan Bilinski a few times, and he was a deacon in his church. He was very, very, very kind, integrable person. He would never have hurt or tried to screw anybody over. He was very honorable, and I had a lot of respect for Dan Bilinski. Now, what he was doing was devastating. What happened, and it was, like I said, the investigation. And it's more, again, when we talk about the processes, the punishment, again, here we are, everything put on hold for a couple of years. And so Dan Bilinski in that time got cancer. And I believe it was the stress that was killing him. He couldn't handle the fact that there was such malice and people were looking at him in a different light all of a sudden. And he phoned me about a month before he passed away, and he said, "Oh my gosh, Karen, you've got to go to the site." And I want to think it was Canadian Global. I'm gonna find it, but there is a site, and he said, "You've got to go to it. We've been cleared. We were cleared." He was just ecstatic that he was cleared, and he said they did slap him on the wrist for doing something with the paperwork that wasn't quite crossing the T's or dotting the I's, but it was nothing to divert money. There was no misleading of anything. So he was cleared of all charges. But at the same time, the VCC collapsed through that because you can only hang on for so long with all these projects. So they slowly, a company called Eurobell stepped in, and they're the ones that actually gave us the birds and signed the contract with us. But yeah, when people say like, "Oh, Dave's cousin, Dan Bilinski," that is one thing I do want to say in honor of him. He was a very honorable person.
So when people hear secondhand, here's secondhand about, oh yeah, there's a Dan Bilinski, you read the court cases, and so many people don't because they're such deep reading.
Mm-hmm.
People should read, and
they really should. Well, and then I don't know, in the one papers that are out there right now, there's another one that's attached of what was saying that it was just a simple, basically a slap on the wrist. And that's what it was. They were told that they were doing, and it wasn't all the paperwork. It was just some of the paperwork wasn't like dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So they were missing a few of the formalities in it, but they were not taking advantage of anybody. There were still the other 12 projects. I even had, through all of that time, the venture capital corporation, as they were going under, because we came here right at the tail end of it happening. We had a lot of investors were phoning us. I had one investor phone every month and ask how it was going and what we were doing. And he believed in the birds and picking up the project, but he was also donating his time in Africa and doing some beautiful things there. But he would always check in to see how it was going because he also believed very much in Dan and what he was doing and felt he got a bad shake in it all.